Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Kavin. This is the In My Head podcast. Thanks so much, as always, for checking this out. And I always got to give a shout out to our friends at BetterHelp.com. They offer free online therapy right in the comfort of your own home. You can cancel at any time. There's no contracts. You can change your therapist at any time. They're offering our listeners a free week. If you go to BetterHelp.com/InMyHead, you'll get that free week of online therapy. Give it a try. If you don't like it, you can cancel without any penalties. And yeah, I just want to thank everybody for listening to our podcast. I've been excited about the episodes we've had and the ones that we're about to have that we have planned in the coming weeks. And I really appreciate you supporting this podcast. I know it's important to me, and this topic is important to so many different people. And hopefully it's been a resource for you, whether you're struggling or not, that it's been a resource for you to learn some things. And I know I've learned a ton from doing it. So anyway, if you're enjoying the podcast, give us a 5-star rating, a review, whatever. Part of this episode will be on YouTube. We kind of did like a shorter segment of it on YouTube, and then almost like a teaser. And if you want to listen to the rest, you can just check it out on Apple iTunes. But I think we will record more. I need to get somebody to film it for me, because I noticed halfway through this interview with Evan, I'm just like, I'm listening 100%, but then I know as the time goes on with the cameras, I'm concerned that they're still filming. So I'm like, let's stop for a second. Let me check them. So I'm going to get someone on board that can film it for us, so I can just 100% the whole time worry about that. So I got about halfway through, and then I was like, I'm turning these off, because I wasn't really enjoying the conversation, and I hated having those moments where I was thinking about the cameras and stuff. So that's why that's shorter, a little teaser. You can watch the rest on Apple iTunes, Spotify, wherever. You can hear the whole interview. But I hope you enjoy this interview with Evan. He is a hairstylist currently in southern Utah. He travels for it as well, all over the place. And he's built up an awesome business, and I've had a great time getting to know him. I've had so many people tell me that I need to meet Evan, because they're just like, you two will click. You seem very similar, and it seems like you'll click between my wife, his wife, my mother-in-law, a couple other people are like, do you know Evan? And so it's funny how the first time we met, we kind of like, they stayed at our house till like 1 a.m, and I was just kind of listening to his story. He was chatting, and it's like we've only hung out like 3 times, and every time it's been like an hour-long conversation. So I wanted to try this format out with this one. I don't know how it goes. You guys can let me know whether you like it or not. But I told Evan, I was like, dude, I'm going to do no notes this time. I usually do an outline and prep all this stuff for it. But I was like, let's just talk about your experiences with mental health. And you can tell what happens by this podcast by 2 people with really ranting minds, where it goes. You can watch it, and you can see where we get out in the weeds, and then we bring it back, and we're talking about Star Wars in the beginning and whatever crap we talked about. And but that's kind of what happens when 2 minds that race and ramble, and we both rant and stuff like that. We're talking about ranting in our episode, and then we started ranting. And so anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Evan has had experiences with mental illness throughout his entire life. He talks about as he got older is when he realized that's what he was experiencing, was depression as a young kid. And he just talks about dealing with it throughout his life, and his business, and his relationship, being married, as a father with his kids, and managing a work life and all of that. He talks a ton about all these different types of therapy that he's experienced. And it goes to show you, he talked about how he hasn't had great experiences with talk therapy, and I told him how I had. So what I loved about this is to show that there's so many resources out there. So if you try something, if you go talk to, if you do like talk therapy or something, you don't like it, take comfort in knowing that there's so many other options. He talks about craniosacral therapy, core genetics, there's meditation therapies, there's acupuncture therapies, there's body talk, there's, in the holistic realm, there's infinite amount. There's CBT. There's just so many different types of therapy. So never give up on your journey to mental health, because there's so many resources out there, and there's lots of options to try it out. And money is often a factor, and we talk about that, how many different types of therapy you can try out. Like BetterHelp.com is a perfect option with our what they do for our listeners. The free week is free, so it's something you can try and be like, does this work or not? And you can continue with it or decide not to. We're having someone on the episode in the coming weeks, and I'm really excited about it. She's all about doing ice baths, and she talks about this is like the price of buying a bag of ice and doing an ice bath. And she's like, I'll have extreme anxiety or stress and get in an ice bath and immediately feel better within a couple minutes. And so we can't ever give up on our pursuit to mental health. There's so many resources out there, talking to friends, family. So anyway, I'm doing the thing that I always do in ranting, so I'll just get into this episode. But hopefully this episode isn't too chaotic. I just did, let's do no notes, and we just kind of talked for an hour and wherever it took us. But Evan's a great resource of how worth it is to pursue your mental health and to do the things necessary to be a better person, whether you're a spouse, a parent, or just trying to make it through your freaking day. Like, I thought this was a great episode to talk about all the different types of things we can do to just better ourselves and make sure we're present for whatever it is we're trying to take on. So hopefully you enjoy it. Thank you so much for checking this out, and please welcome Evan to the podcast.
In My Head is a free-form discussion podcast where we talk about issues of mental and physical health and well-being. This is not meant to be a diagnosis or treatment plan, but rather a place to share real stories and insights from professionals and people who have or are battling mental illness. We hope to create a community where people feel comfortable and happy with who they are. Hopefully this is helpful for you, and please share it with others. Thanks for listening.
It's the suspense, man. It's the before you perform.
Yeah, I don't know that at the level you do, man.
Nah, you just like pee real quick.
I did do a school assembly.
I love that. That's incredible. Yeah.
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 I mean, you usually do a countdown, but we're going now.
Are we going?
So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, scratch my face.
Scratch it.
Move my glasses. I'm like, oh no, we're going now, and now I start being like,
I know we didn't really prep for this. So
no.
What are we gonna talk about?
Hold on, now let me touch my face 1,000 times. I'm itchy. All right, now we're good,
dude. So I realized I think I've been pronouncing your last name wrong, because I usually say Stowers, but it's Stowers, right?
Yeah.
Because you have a thing in your tooth.
Do I? In it here?
Yeah.
Is this one?
Yeah. Do you want floss?
Is it gone?
I don't think so.
That's been in my tooth the whole day, dude.
Dude, I couldn't tell you at the end of the YouTube video. I have
Do
floss.
I need floss?
Let me see. It's less.
If you've got floss and I want to just do it real fast, throw it in my pocket. Check that.
It's so funny because my wife's always she gets things stuck in her teeth real easily.
Oh, she does?
And it's always we'll be hanging with somebody and walk into the car. And then I'm like, oh, I think you have something in your tooth. And she's like, we ate 2 hours ago.
Right.
I'm like,
it's brought to you by Reach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Reach.
Right?
I didn't even check my teeth. There we go. Oh, well.
You look good. Hold on, let me see.
Cool.
You're good.
Good.
You look nice. Thank you.
Good. I prepped for you, man. I've been getting ready since noon.
Oh, I love it.
So
I love it. I just try not to get bleach on my shirt.
That's right. Why would you get bleach on your shirt?
Because of hair. Are we just rolling into this?
Yeah. Let's just go.
Hey, you start.
For reals though, Evan Stowers.
Yeah.
I've been saying Stowers.
Yeah.
And I heard your voicemail, Stowers, so I apologize for that.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Here with Evan Stowers.
Yeah, or Stowers. Yeah.
What do you prefer?
Stowers. I think that's my name. Yeah.
You said Stowers though on your voicemail.
No.
What is it?
It's Stowers. Did I say Stowers on my voicemail? Am I calling myself the wrong name? I always tell people
maybe I'm mixing them up.
Stowers with a T, or Towers with a T. Hold on. Towers with an S is what I normally say.
Towers with an S?
Yeah, Stowers.
Stow.
Wow, Stowers. Yeah, you turned your phone off. I mean...
You've reached Evan Stowers with the Desert Mountain.
You did say Stowers.
Stowers. I just say things weird.
So I flipped it. I just
learned, okay, so my little brother, he's got this massive beard, and He's got a bun in his beard right now. And he FaceTimed me earlier.
Yeah.
And all the stylists at the salon have never, like, they've seen him in video, but they've never seen him, like, in FaceTime.
Yeah.
And they're all tripping out because they're like, oh my gosh, if you and your two brothers all grew beards, you all look the same. Like, we all bleached our hair out, but, like, at different times. But, like, we all showed up maybe 2 weeks ago, bleached, ground out hair. We're all thinning. And we're just chilling, right? And just all different stages of like the same person. And so, but one of my stylists was like, she's like, he talks so professional. Like,
About
what do you
you?
mean? No, him, his voice. She's like, it's deeper. Like, the way that he speaks is professional. I'm like, what are you trying to say? She's like, you got this like skater surfer voice. I'm like, did you say I don't talk professionally? Like, no, you got this like different voice. So I think that in that voicemail, it was like Stowers or something. I don't know. I don't know, man. Maybe that's just my voice.
I think I flipped it actually because I must have been calling you Stowers.
Yeah.
I flipped it probably.
And you're like Stowers. Yeah. And somebody called me Star Wars. He's a little kid,
dude.
but yeah,
Evan Stowers.
that was cool. That would have been cool.
That's awesome.
Like a Jedi or like a Sith or something.
So which one would you be? Would you be the
Dude,
dark or the light?
I think I'd probably be a Jedi.
I think I would be like on the space fence. Like, which side's gonna win?
You'd go back and forth.
Yeah. Do I want to be with like Luke Skywalker, who seems a little young, he doesn't really know what he's doing yet, or Darth Vader, who seems like impenetrable?
Right.
I might have gone with Darth back then.
I don't know, dude, but like he's impenetrable because his anger, though.
Ooh.
It's like his weakness. Like it's like his strength, but like his weakness, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He like created a lot of havoc in his life.
I like how you're convincing me like not to go with Darth Vader.
Don't go
like,
dark,
this is
man.
hypothetical.
Like he like created a lot of havoc.
Yeah, I know.
Just to like, I mean, he's
a little havoc.
He's got some.
He blew up a planet.
Yeah. Like, so you're like, but I mean, I don't know. I don't think I could wear all the gear, all the Sith gear.
That's true. You're like, this seems like the battle could go either way. Can you
like,
show me the uniforms?
Right. Like the
Show me
Jedi is
wardrobe.
very minimal. Like they don't like.
I mean, let's be honest. The Jedi are like underground hermits that kind of come out in rags.
Yeah, they're great. And
they are great.
The Sith are like really flashy.
Yeah.
Like they're like yellow eyes and like spikes sticking out of their heads and like have to have a double blade. Something crazy.
It's got to be red.
Right,
like,
right.
Yeah.
And the Jedi's like, you know, and they have that one that's like, my kids and I just watched this like a couple months ago. So there's one, they like, it goes from like 2 arms to like 7 arms. And then there's like the one dude with the Jedi with like the blue or green thing.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, meh. And then kills him.
Meh.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Why would you not want to be that guy?
Yeah. I've always wondered, did the stormtroopers literally never shoot a gun before they needed to use it?
Right.
Because they can't hit point blank range. They can't hit stuff.
They're like, pew.
But then when they're like, set phasers to stun, he just gets Princess Leia immediately.
No, dude, there's just force like emanating off them so big time.
Wait,
they
really?
Just can't. I don't know.
That would make so much sense. And that would be awesome if that was the storyline.
In the Force, right?
Yeah.
They're Kundalini. I don't even know what that is. Just my brother said that today.
But what if like Luke's force is too strong and it just goes away and hits Han Solo? Like, wouldn't it?
It's a risk you take, man, for hanging out with the Jedi.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
That has to be the storyline because that would make more sense.
But dude, it's like, okay, so this is like, anyways, this whole thing
is a mental health podcast.
Yeah, it's good. It's mental health. But so I had this short that I wanted to do. Maybe we'll do it someday about dinosaurs.
Okay.
So I took this dinosaur class and it's the worst class ever. Like the dude.
A class on dinosaurs?
Yeah, it's called Intro to Dinosaurs.
What grade is this? Is this first or is this college?
College.
Intro to dinos.
Yes, dude. It was like my school counselor was like, you have to take a science elective class. He's like, take Intro to Dinosaurs.
Did he show you Dino Dan TV shows?
No, man. No, this guy, I think he thought he wanted to be a dinosaur. He would be like
paleontologist.
Yeah, he's a paleontologist, and he was like, humans are so stupid. And I'm like, do you think that you should be a dinosaur? He hated Jurassic Park. He thought Jurassic Park was the dumbest show because he's like, that's not what a velociraptor looked like. They have feathers. Of course, 'cause
in that show, he's the victim. He's a dinosaur.
Right.
So
he's not. I'm like, do you think like, anyways, like Mario Brothers where Koopa ended up being like an evolved dinosaur? I don't know if you've ever seen that show.
Mm-mm.
We're going way down the rabbit hole, but
we're just peeking in right now.
Yeah, dude.
I'm trying to get that fly.
The only thing that I took from this is that the probably 3/4 of this class is like basically geology.
Yeah.
Like, looking at the strata. What time period do you think that this fossil comes from? And then part of our tests were like, you come across a bone. Do basic physics equation to find out how much this dinosaur weighs. I'm like, dude, I've never even taken physics. This is intro to dinosaurs. And then at the very end, we would, it was just like, well, what do we think dinosaurs look like? And it was like, well, we don't really know. But we assume that they look like this. And so...
Oh, have you seen the picture of like, since hair doesn't last through like millions of years. So they're like, we think. So they show a T-Rex, but it has a 80s rocker haircut. And they're like, we'll never know.
Could have been. I've seen that actually. Yeah. I've seen that meme.
We'll never know.
But
like, what if they just have like chest hair and they're just like
whoa. So supposedly the T-Rex is the descendant. Hold on. The chicken is the descendant of the
closest
T-Rex.
Descendant, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So here's my idea. Okay.
When you look close, you're like, yeah.
Yeah, because have you ever seen chickens? They tear each other apart.
Oh yeah.
Like just chilling, pecking order, real deal.
I've literally never done this on a podcast before, but dude, have you ever seen?
We're going to new extremes in this podcast.
Have you ever seen an owl without hair?
No.
It's literally the scariest. It's the scariest thing ever.
Oh yeah, dude, that looks like a dinosaur.
I don't know if there's a way to see it, but
it's so crazy. So okay, here's my film. Are you ready? I'm pitching you this. An owl without hair. No, seriously. Yeah. So they're like Velociraptor, Jurassic Park, supposed to have feathers. It looks like I don't remember, Allosaurus or something. I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. You didn't make Jurassic Park. That's why you're pissed. You didn't make all the money and you're teaching Intro to Dinosaurs at Dixie College. You're pissed.
He's mad.
Yeah. So, anyways.
That's so funny.
So I thought, okay, so these dinosaur chickens, right? You're in a barn. A family discovers these eggs and they hatch. And they're these little chickens. And then they feel like, and then they realize they've got teeth and they've got claws and they've got a tail. And they're like, oh my gosh, they're so sweet. And then it bites off the dad's arm.
Oh my
gosh. They're like, oh my. And they're just, they're just rabid, these dinosaur chickens. So they're running wild all over the town, right? And the people have the shotguns, and they're shooting them with the shotguns. Hold on, how do you shoot? That's a
bazooka. That's a bazooka.
Clearly, I don't use a shotgun. And
they're missing that's them. A sawed off that you got. Like that's
and they're missing them, right? They're like bam, and it's like ding, ding. And they never kill the chicken. And then finally, they're like, we're just gonna dig this massive hole. So they dig this massive hole, and they just cart them in there with their, their cat like tractor.
Wait, they're just like throwing them in the hole?
Yeah.
Like for dead?
They can't shoot them, and they're trying to eat all the people in the town. They just keep missing them with their sawed-off shotguns.
Wait, so they just think they're going to walk into this hole?
That's what they're going to do, dude. They're going to get like a big cat, like those ones, like that scooper thing, and they just push him in the hole. I love that
I'm trying to like dissect this story.
And then they take like one of those dumper things, and they just bury the hole. And then at the very end, this little chicken claw stabs up from the ground.
Shut up. For the sequel?
Dinosaur Chicken 2, man.
That's what it's going to be called? Dinosaur Chicken?
Sure. I don't know what's going to happen in between. I don't know the substance past that, but that is my plot. And I've been trying to sell this idea for years now.
I had an idea, but I was like, that's turkey. I was going to be like, what about like... What's like a dinosaur age? Mesozoic? Is that one?
I don't know, man.
Okay.
I was
going to say like...
we would write all these notes, and then I'd look at my friend and be like, let's just go to McDonald's.
I was going to call it the Mesozoic Thanksgiving, but that's a turkey. So that wouldn't work at all.
It could have been a descendant. Like what, the turkey, like they go to like cook it and it just turns into a dinosaur and just starts eating their face or something.
Yeah.
Like sit down, it's a cornucopia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there had to be like some kind of love story in the second one, right? Where there's like the little the women and then the dude, like dinosaur chickens, and like
They kind of always have to make it a love story.
and it's got to be kind of corny, right? So it's got to be like this was just the evolution. We don't know where they came from, and then they just start eating people or like ripping their legs off.
I think you're thinking of the movie Alien, but you're just swapping out dino chickens for it.
Honestly, I think I'm like, did you ever watch like Critters?
I don't know if I ever saw that one.
Dude.
I was thinking of Tremors when you said that.
I'm trying to pull these like Gremlins, and like it's got to be something like that.
I'm ashamed. I've actually never seen Gremlins.
Are you serious?
I've never seen
Dude,
the old
there's
one.
this sweet scene in Gremlins where they do flash dance.
Doesn't sound awesome.
They go to a bar and they're like flash dancing, and then this one gremlin just flashes people. He's got like a trench coat on and like a cigar, and he's just flashing people. That's what I'm telling you. There's no substance.
Yeah, well,
The
those are the
premise,
best kind, actually.
right? The premise is like, don't feed the thing, and then these gremlins come, and then you have to make like a whole hour and a half of
I need
content.
to fix that thing, dude. Look at this.
I put it back.
You're just getting like more and more bent over.
You have to
as
find
that
an
is
hour
growing.
and a half of content to
Yeah.
fill that.
Yeah.
But that's the whole idea. That's what I'm talking about. Dinosaur chicken is like, you do like, we got the idea, and then past that, we've got to fill in all the other things.
Yeah.
Right?
I got
It's
you.
going to be some teenagers, like, you know, the nerdy dude, like, and the girls that are really cool.
The one, like the aspiring paleontologist kid.
Right,
who
there we
knows
go.
all the secrets.
Right.
Like, no.
Well, and they've got to, right, and they've got to go back to like, this is legit, that there's some TED talk that the guy in New Mexico is manipulating chickens right now. He's manipulating the genes, so they're growing tails, they're growing teeth. So you got to go find somebody
That's
like
how
that.
that movie starts, is with the TED talk and then like news articles talking about these.
But then they don't know because they live in like Iowa. So then they're just like, go to a barn and find all these eggs, and they're like, oh my gosh, and they're so cute, and then they rip someone's leg off.
Yeah,
And
I love it.
That's the movie, dude. And this podcast is about mental health, so let's get into that.
I think people got a good idea right there. What
Of what's going to happen
what goes on in someone's mind. It's like
in my brain. Welcome
Yeah.
to my brain.
Yeah.
This is what I do all day.
It's so funny because when I started the podcast and I was like, I'm going to name it In My Head, this is kind of, I was like, I wish I could portray like just rambling thoughts and like
Right.
just how it all goes. You
No,
know?
totally. And I think, I don't know, man, like I think there's, there's moments, like I don't want to get into this, but there's moments where like you start diagnosing yourself.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm a huge like hypochondriac. So like, not really, but kind of. Like if I think like I feel a symptom, I'm like, I'm getting sick.
Yeah.
Like I Google things, but I think with mental health, you like totally, I don't know. I just don't think my brain thinks linearly. Like a lot of people, they think like A, B, C, or at least we think that's the way the brain is.
Mm-hmm.
And in my case, it's like A, Z, F, G, back to A, right? And then you add in like
Zeta, Enye.
right, and then you add in like ADD, which I've never been clinically diagnosed, but I went and worked with this dude in Missouri, and he was just like, I'm just gonna tell you. Like, I don't know if anybody's told you that if you have ADD, but he's like, you have ADD. And he's like, and I have ADD, so I'm going to help you. And it actually changed my
Wow.
whole life because I'm left-handed. I was doing hair. I was like crossing over my arm and doing everything right-handed. And he was like, no, put your tray over here. Like I would like jump in a haircut. I would like jump to this side, jump to that side, jump to this side. And he's like, no, I want you to like, especially with men's cutting, like do this side, like talk to the client, like make sure this is what they want, and then jump to the other side, right? Because I end up talking, I am telling a story, and I just go back and forth and back and forth, and then the haircut takes like an hour.
Yeah.
It's supposed to take like 30 minutes, right? And so,
Your
and some of
client's
that's
like, dude, I just asked you to shave my head.
right. And some of that is like a little bit of fun,
Yeah.
but it gets to the point where you have to like learn how to like manage that.
Right.
But I think you just get in your head and you just start thinking like, I just think so differently and strangely, and not that that's what that means, but I just, you take psychology.
You're looking for a solution too.
Right.
Yeah.
You take psychology and you take different things and you think like, this is how the brain is supposed to think.
Yeah.
And so when you think differently, then you think, well, I must be weird, or I must be different, or I must have this, or I must have whatever. And then you start to realize like, I think we all think differently, right? For the most part.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. That's what this whole long anecdote
that's
is.
that's what's interesting. Like when you're in a group of people and everyone's kind of saying the same stuff and you're kind of sitting there in your head like, am I the only one that sees it totally opposite here? Like, I'm curious if other people do feel the same way, but have you ever seen those tests where they'll put 9 actors in a room and 1 real person? And they'll have the 9 people like they'll throw like a red card on the ground and then pull it out and ask the question like, raise your hand if you thought it was green.
Right.
And like the one girl like raises her hand, no one else does, so she kind of like puts it down, and it's like, I don't know, they'll just, and before you know it, she's doing exactly like
following
all of a
along.
sudden they're like, on the count of 3, just random stuff like 1, 2, 3, and like all 9 people just stand up and do, and they just go right in line. So I'm like curious how much in conversations you're like just agreeing and kind of going along with it, because it's not normal to kind of be like, I don't see it that way or whatever. You know what I mean?
I think it's like that. I can't remember what it's called because I've, obviously there's cognitive dissonance there where you're just like in your brain being like, wait, I know that this is red. Why is everyone making me feel like it's green? Right? I think that that's the best way to describe that. I can't remember. I have to go back to like communication theory, but
intro to dinos.
Yeah. Intro to dinos. So, but I think that there is something to that. I mean, we feel that in real life. We feel that with the media, right? That there's a sense of like, we feel that with our surroundings that, you don't want to speak out and be like, hey, I'm different, right? I mean, I know that sometimes I struggle, and I don't know, maybe maybe everybody is this way, but I think you start to like form what you're going to say, and then you don't want to offend that person. And so instead of just being like, I'm going to listen to what you're saying, I'm going to form a response, you're just like, you just say like the automated whatever, right? Instead of being like, oh, let's come at this out a different way or whatever. And there's also like, going back to communication theory, like there's social norms. So I remember being in class and them talking about, I don't remember what theory is. It's social something theory, which I'm thinking social distance theory, but basically the idea was, let's say you take a girl on a date and there's all these social cues. So maybe there's the social norm is you don't call the girl for 2 days, right? You don't text them. Right. There's something like that. And
I think it's 3.
But. 3. Okay. Right. And if you break that, then you're crazy, right? Let's say, and I feel like for some weird reason we put that more on women, but it's like because you see the movies, right? And so then the girl breaks it, and then it's like, oh, that girl is nuts, right? Yeah. We have all these social codes that we're supposed to live by, and if you break that social code, then it's crazy. And I love breaking that social code. I think it's kind of fun. And I also think like if you watched like The Office or some of those shows, I've actually never seen the whole thing, but what I picked up from it is the funniness of it is all they're doing all day long or show long is breaking these social norms, right? We think we're supposed to just, you do this, we react this way. That's how we believe that society is. But it really is so much more messy than that. Right. And we're unwilling to admit that, and a lot of people are unwilling to like understand that it's and then give people a little bit of grace when they break those social norms. We're just like, oh, you're weird, right? Yeah, you're just strange. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I think that's what makes people really interesting, and so I do hair. So
I know I did not give you a.
You're good.
I was thinking in my head. I was like this. I was thinking in my head like this time, because I was telling you that before. I'm always like, tell us about yourself, and I'm like, that's kind of a a question, I think it can be a really simple question, like,
Right.
I'm Kavin, I'm 36.
Right. I like
And,
long walks.
I have
Yeah.
4 kids. I like long
Right.
walks, Or you could be like, well, I grew up here. I was
Right.
born on this day.
Right.
So
It's just like a weird question.
so all that, I was going to say, maybe this time in the intro, I'll just say, this is Evan, but I didn't tell
Yeah.
you that.
You could do it if you want.
No.
Yeah.
I'd rather you, this is Evan.
Yeah,
I'd rather
totally.
you say, like,
What I do.
what do you stand for? No,
Okay.
what you do, and like, and I'll reset that before you say it. But
You're good.
yeah, and anything else.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
because there's a lot to Evan.
Yeah, I guess so.
Is this why I'm supposed to make an outline like I have
Yeah,
every other
right,
time? Because when I
right.
don't, this is
This
what
is
happens.
it. This is crazy.
So
Um,
so let's talk about
me.
you.
Okay,
Yeah.
so basically, I mean, that's for me, such a hard question, I think, because I don't really know what to say. So I'm Evan, and yeah, we live here in Southern Utah, obviously. I own a salon. I do hair. I have kids. It's the standard answer, right?
But
like
you
4
do,
of them.
do you say you're hairstylist?
I'm a
Barber?
hairstylist. Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
barber just for men?
Yeah, barbering's for men.
That's what I thought.
I don't know. People say they like hairstylist, hairdresser. What's another word? Like stylist. I don't really care. I just do hair.
Were
Yeah.
you the only male in your class? Were there
No.
a
I
lot?
think there was like 3. I think, was there another guy in my initial class? I think so. I've kind of blurred it out. But there was, I think, 3 or 4 different males in my school.
Yeah.
And then I happen to know a lot of men in the industry. Not necessarily. I mean, I think like trying to find your place, right?
Mhm.
So there's a lot of amazing women. I'm the only one we have 13 stylists, and I'm the only guy.
Yeah.
We're bringing another guy in October, but and you know what, to be honest, I love it. Like, I love the stylists that work with me. I don't like to say they work for me, because everybody's independent, and we just have this really rad space where, like, obviously I own the space, but I try to create a little bit of them being able to be their own person and do their own thing, if that makes
Right,
sense.
totally.
Yeah. So, we've really, because everybody works independently, I could just let them like go off and do their own thing, but I'm very invested in them. I care a ton about them, and I want them to like just thrive. So we have this like family dynamic, which sometimes like, we work together way more than I even see my own family,
Right.
if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
So, every once in a while you're going to get like a little bit of like, oh my gosh, did you say that? But, like, we try to keep it really real. And to be honest, like, when there is that conversation, I have to give my stylist, I call them my girls, and I should not say that, but I have to give them like a huge like sense of like, there's a lot of growth there. Like, sometimes I lose my cool, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's tension, like, because I'm like dumb, but they get like, they really like,
Just because, yeah.
because you're working with each other,
Yeah.
right? And like I'm a boss, but also I have my clients. I'm trying to take care of them, and so you're working with each other. And so I think honestly, I really have to like applaud them, because even if we have our moments of like, oh my gosh, that hurt me or that offended me, we've been really good to take a step back and really overcome that. Like,
Yeah.
I've had 3 stylists in the last 3 years that have ever left the salon.
Dang.
Of 13 people.
Yeah.
And one of them had a baby and just decided like, I'm going to be a mom. I'm going to do my thing. The other 2 got married and left the state, and everybody else has been with me. I've had
Dang.
stylists that have worked with me for almost 4 years now. And so we don't have a huge turnover. And honestly, I think it's more on them. I think I'm crazy, and they've been really rad to like
Yeah.
give me the room to grow as a person, because I don't handle things totally well all the time, right? Like, if I have an issue, like I'm learning, I'm on my own journey, and like I'm learning that I am insanely reactive, And sometimes we're all just trying to like come and like be like, hey, I have this issue or whatever. And then my first response is like to be reactive, right? And so now I'm learning these things, right? And so now I'm trying to be like, okay, I might need to take space and say, I might not be able to answer this right now.
Yeah.
Like I need to go and work with my client and come back with another response or something, right?
Right.
And so it's cool because I think that we are learning that, right? And we're learning to like know that we can be in that situation and know that like some things, you know, you might say something that you're like, your initial thought might be like, oh dude, that hurt me. But then what's been so rad is then they can like take a step back and I can take a step back and go, but we really care for each other. And we've decided like that matters so much more and been able to like rise above that. And it's really weird in a sense. It's a kind of unconventional because like I have a degree in communication. I studied human communication. I took small group theory, communication theory, all these different things. But when you get into the dynamic of that.
Wait, why'd you say human communication? Are there other communication?
Yeah, because there's mass.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was thinking like whale communication or like studying whale sounds.
No, so there's like human communication and there's mass.
Public speaking. Like,
so public speaking is one. I actually study rhetoric, which is like basically I studied rhetorical analysis. So you take
hence the first 20 minutes of this podcast.
Yeah. So you take an
rhetorical
artifact and you dissect it. So you could take a movie or you could take literature or you could take what's going on in society and you look at the lifeblood of what's happening in society, right? And a lot of these people in that side of things, they're really into film. So they'll take film and they'll like totally tear it apart and be like, this is what's being communicated through society, right?
Yeah.
And so you can get into the whole theoretical part of things and then you get into like work. Like we don't have an HR person.
Right.
It's just a bunch of humans trying to live with each other for hours and hours and hours a day.
Right.
So it gets kind of messy.
Yeah.
We don't send whoever to the HR department.
Yeah.
You're the boss in the HR department and the stylist and the whatever. And on the other side, they're boss of their clients and they are also human beings and they're also the HR checking me, right? And being like, dude, cool it a little, you know? And so it's actually been really rad. I've been really like impressed and very like, you know, there's been moments where you're like, oh shoot, like I might have overstepped that. But it's like so hard because theoretically in these classes, you're like, you shouldn't have said that, but we're humans. So it's messy.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for checking this out. If you've enjoyed that and you want to see more of this episode, you can check it out on any podcast platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever out there. Check the rest of it out. And we appreciate your support. Like and subscribe or give us a 5-star rating, whatever platform you're on. We'd appreciate the support. Make it more searchable for other people for their resources as well. So thank you, and we'll see you soon.